Hello, we're live for the first time in 2021. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I've got my hot water with lemon because I'm trying to get on this health kick to start the year. And we are about to go live with life strategist Valerie Burton. So if you just know, you're going to see some more of her and she's going to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, just feel free to comment. We're going to be talking about how to kickstart our health and how to focus on the mind, because that's the biggest culprit sometimes is our mindset. Hi, Valerie. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love that. You're sitting there with your hot tea, your hot water.
I started I didn't really have New Year's resolutions because I'm really just trying to get through. But one of the things I wanted to add to my diet is hot water and lemon.
Yeah,
So
I've
I
been.
figured now is a great time since we're talking about health and we're talking about getting a great mindset. You were so great on the show. I know we have a lot to get to, but I first have to ask where you got that necklace because I love it so much.
So it's an Atlanta-based designer. It's Fabulina Designs. They're right here on Instagram, and
Oh
they are.
my gosh, and your rings too. I love your style. For everyone who's joining, again, we have life strategist Valerie Burton, who is beautiful inside and out, and you always bring so much great insight and a positive outlook as well.
Oh, thank you.
So, we are doing this series called Rut Busters, where we're essentially helping three women, and an extension of the three women are all the viewers at home who are trying to get out of a rut. This has been a tough year. We've been home, we've been in sweats, we haven't had to really see our waistline get larger or expand because we're in our easy clothes. And I think the biggest thing to tackle first when trying to get back into a health kick is your mindset. And
Yes.
so a lot of people have questions about, how to get it started with the mind because mind rules everything, mind rules all.
It does.
So if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I have some from our viewers. But I wanted to start with something that I thought was so interesting. You said about, finding your culprit. Who or what is your culprit that is blocking you from getting into this healthier lifestyle? Can you describe that?
Yeah, so it's like, what has you stuck? What's really holding you back from reaching the goal? So, with the ladies that have been on the show, for example, I mean, Donna was just, for her, it's when she's about to exercise, what is
Mm,
she saying to herself? And so when I actually asked her that, and you have to ask yourself, what am I saying to myself in the heat of the moment when it's time to eat something healthy, not grab the cookie and grab an
mm,
apple or whatever the healthy snack is. For her, it was when she was about to exercise, she would say, oh, I need to clean. So she would go, vacuum, or she'd say, oh, I need to do something more for my daughter who's got babies. And so she would feel
right.
about not about prioritizing herself over family, which isn't what she was doing. If you're taking
Mm,
45 minutes to exercise, you can do stuff for your family after.
right.
But it's what are we saying to ourselves? And when you get clear about that, it makes a huge difference. But also, I think we can just beat ourselves up. So, like Christy said, if I mess up, she kept calling it mess up. If I mess up and, my mom bakes some rolls and I eat the rolls or eat the cookie, I just give up for the rest of the day.
I've got to say, I'm kind of like her.
And
What
so
is
that's why I keep saying it's more good choices than bad choices. You really have to be kind to yourself.
that? Mm,
Like, yes, it's hard. Tell yourself this is hard, but you know what? You've done hard things before. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves of who we are, decide that we've made a decision to get healthier, don't expect it to be easy. And then each day, like, okay, maybe I didn't have as many good choices as I wanted, but I drank plenty of water today. Tomorrow, I'll drink plenty of water and I'll eat a little better. Just a little bit at a time makes a huge difference.
mm. It's interesting because I read somewhere that it's like if you go back on your word to yourself, you're teaching yourself to not trust you.
Yeah.
So it really is every little decision that is important to stick to. If you're saying, okay, I'm going to have a cookie, but then I'm going to stay healthy, you've got to stick to that. You can't say, I'm going to have five more cookies, which I'm not practicing exactly what I preach. I'm just saying. But we had one viewer who just wrote three words, and I think we can all understand: guilt, fear, and uncertainty.
Mm.
I think what they mean by that is those are the three words that kind of are associated with kickstarting a healthier lifestyle, because those are what pull you back, and those are kind of almost the excuses that you inherently find to be there. How do
Yeah.
you get over that?
The guilt is a big one. When I wrote Let Go of the Guilt, I started talking a lot about false guilt.
Mm,
And that's feeling guilty about something you really didn't do wrong. And we have a lot of that. Like, well, if I'm
mm,
doing this, then I'm not, I'm not there for my kids. I'm not there for my spouse. We say things that just aren't true.
mm,
And we have to call that out. Like, that's not true. Fear is inevitable. It's not a stop sign. And I think what happens is we keep expecting ourselves to somehow just feel inspired to go work out or feel
yeah,
inspired to not eat the cake.
yeah.
Stop expecting to just feel inspired. And that's kind of the thing you have to feel in order to do what's right. Just make the decision. I'm going to
Mm,
take that action even though I don't feel like it. That's, I think, counterintuitive because we tend to look at people we see as successful and we assume that they don't feel any fear. We assume that they always feel like doing whatever it is that they do.
yeah.
Not true. So if we stop telling ourselves, I have to feel like working out, I have to feel like eating healthy, then we kind of change that whole dynamic. And once you start doing the things that ultimately are going to make you feel good, you feel differently. Once you actually work out afterwards, you're like, I did it. I
Mm.
exercised that discipline. So again, be gentle with yourself, but make a decision and recognize you don't have to feel like doing something in order to do it.
I love speaking with you because you can apply any advice that you give to any aspect of your life,
Mm.
which is really, you know, if you think about it, everything kind of falls into place that way. It's
Yeah.
like if you apply yourself to want to work out more or to eat healthier, you're going to have more energy, which is going to lead you to fulfill your goals, which is going to lead you to have a happier outlook and all the things that everyone wants, maybe find love, whatever it is
Yes.
that you're looking for. That
Yes.
energy really emanates once you put your mind to it. What is the first thing that someone can do? Someone who's waking up in the morning, isn't leaving their house, needs to feel motivated, but isn't. What's the first thing they can do every day to try to get on a healthier mindset?
So it kind of relates to what you just said. And this is rooted in science and research.
Mm,
Feeling good actually helps you stay motivated. So doing something that brings you joy creates a sense of positive emotion. So
mhm,
that you ask yourself in the morning, what am I looking forward to? Because a lot of us just sit around and talk about, I have to do this. I have to do this project. I have to help my kids with school. I have to go grocery shopping. Change it to I get to. What do I get
mhm.
to today? Right? Because there was a time
Yeah.
you wanted kids, or even just going to the grocery store. It's like, wow, you have the resources to feed your family. Like that's not any small thing, although we
Mhm.
take it for granted. So doing something that produces gratitude or just getting moving, which
Mhm.
movement
Yeah.
boosts positive emotion. Do something that feels good. It could be a hug. It could be snuggling in bed for 2 minutes before you get out. I mean, anything that just causes you to feel good actually opens up your mind and puts you in the kind of mindset that says, I can do this. Now,
Mm.
the hard thing, I'm gonna grab the tennis shoes and put them on. I'm gonna eat something that's healthy this morning. Be very intentional about your positive emotion. And this is one of the reasons you have to stop beating yourself up and start being more kind to yourself. It feels better. When you feel good, you do things that are good for you.
Is there something, because, self-criticism is one of, I think, the largest issues that we have here. And, not only kind of ruminating over negative self-talk or, if a diet in the past didn't work, you kind of associate your body with what didn't work in the past. How do you get over that? And do you believe in mantras, or do you have a different way of kind of
Yeah.
battling that?
So I call it personal declarations, and you'll notice I gave a couple of the viewers
Yeah.
those declarations. So like Christy is supposed to keep herself reminded, I make more good choices than bad choices. That's her mantra. For Donna, it was feelings follow actions, because she was waiting to feel like taking action and doing the right thing. And I said, nope, nope. Action comes first, the feelings catch up. So a lot of times just keeping ourselves reminded. One of mine, especially like when I'm writing a book or something, and I'm a recovering procrastinator, like
I don't believe that. But actually,
I
if
know.
that's true, then everything you're saying works.
I mean, I've written 13 books and I procrastinate like time. And one of my mantras, because I'll feel like, oh, this is so hard. And I'm like, well, of course it's hard. You're writing a whole book. So I'll just,
Right.
I can do hard things. And it sounds like something you tell your first grader to say, which I do have my first grader repeat that, but it works.
Mm.
And it's amazing. Even with my 6-year-old, I will notice him trying to put together a Lego set that's extra hard. And then out of the blue, I'll hear him talking to himself and saying, I can do hard things. And it's like it resets his mind, and he digs back in and he kind of wipes off the tears. We need that for ourselves as adults.
We do. We
Really.
do. Really do.
And there's nobody typically when we're an adult telling us you can do it. You know, nobody's reading The Little Engine that could, but we still need that because sometimes we don't have the confidence, especially if
Mm.
we have failed in the past and we're feeling like we don't trust ourselves.
Yeah.
So just because you failed in the past doesn't mean you can't succeed in the future. Saying that to yourself can be really, really powerful.
Mm. I was going to say, because, I personally have found myself overthinking more than ever in the past year because that's all we have to do.
Yeah.
Um, so, really being able to control your thoughts has been difficult for me. But
Yeah.
you're saying that, saying things like that to yourself can really help.
Absolutely. And who's your tribe? Like, who's your
Mm.
circle that also is moving in a positive direction? Who can you reach out to? You might even have a text group, right? And
Mm.
just every morning it's some little piece of something positive that somebody is putting into that group. I mean, being able to have people you talk to, people you stay connected with, who
Hmm.
encourage you is really important, as well as sometimes we have to cut off those people
Yeah.
who aren't encouraging to us, or at least not tell them what our goals are, because they're
Yeah.
not say things that reinforce those good habits. So who's your tribe? Who's that person who will encourage you even when you don't encourage yourself? And sometimes we have to tell them like what to ask, right?
Mm. Yeah, completely.
Ask me, am I making more good choices than bad choices? Ask me how I need to be supported today, so
Right.
that they know how to support you. And you can do the same for them.
Yeah, and I think too, if it makes people nervous or anxious to kind of um not eliminate, but like weed through the bad
Yeah.
vibe friends. I don't want to call them bad friends. It's like you don't have to completely do that. You just, like you said, you don't have to tell them your goals specific to whatever it is your gut is telling you isn't protected by them.
Yeah, be discerning about who you share your vision and your goals with. I think that's so very important.
Someone just wrote that consistency has been their challenge, and that has a lot to do with the mental game.
Yes, it does. So set very specific goals. This is so important because a lot of times we'll just say, "Oh, I want to lose weight."
Mm.
Uh, get very specific, then break it down. So if it's a certain amount of weight, what are you trying to do week by week? What are the habits that sabotage that goal, and how could you change them? So you might be starting out with changing what you're drinking, right? Because maybe you're drinking a lot of sugary stuff.
Hot water lemon.
There you go. And so you're changing little things and being consistent. I would say keeping a journal of what you're doing well can be really helpful in that, right? So don't ignore when you've had 6 or 8 glasses of water. What did I do well today? I drank 8 glasses of water. Okay, because this time last week I wasn't doing that. And just practice. You don't have to do it perfectly. But the thing is, when you feel like, oh, I'm getting inconsistent again, get back on track. Remind yourself of the goal. I think putting reminders in your phone, something that pops up
Mm.
once a day to remind you of what the goal is, can be powerful.
That's a great
Having
one.
Yeah, putting a picture on your screensaver on your phone that's like a vision of where you're headed, so you
Mm.
see it all the time. Or put your mantra right in front of you on the mirror, or maybe that pops up on your phone. Just those little things that keep you reminded of where you're headed and what the specific habits are that you're trying to change.
Mm. I think a lot of people have been focusing on healing in the past year, and that, someone wrote, can your goal just be healing? Is there ever a moment where, because a healing process is not linear. And so, is there ever a moment where you can focus too much on the healing to move forward?
So if your wounds are keeping you from doing the things that are healthy, then I would say focus all your energy on the healing, because it's
Mm,
going to shift everything. Not just, for example, emotional eating, but it's going to shift your relationships. It's going to shift how you spend your money, right? You might not be an emotional eater, you might be an emotional spender like I used to be,
mm,
right? So you will find that healing will affect so many areas that it's an important area of focus. And sometimes we need more help. You may need to
yeah.
talk to a counselor or a therapist, but give yourself that time.
Mm,
At the same time, I think sometimes we get too focused on why we're not doing what we need to do. So we're like, I don't know why I do that. You don't have to know why you do something unhealthy
mm,
in order to start doing something healthy.
mm. That's good to know.
Over analyzing like all
Yeah.
why you're doing something that doesn't work. If you don't get the answer, that's fine. Still do the thing that you know works. So I think that's something sometimes we get a bit stuck on, like, oh, I
Mm.
don't know why I'm stuck. You don't have to know why you're stuck to get unstuck.
That's great to know, because that's what I mean. It's like, there's so much importance in learning about yourself,
Mhm.
but it's also freeing to know that you don't have to have it all together before you continue moving on with your goals.
That's right. When you start doing something different, you actually begin feeling different. Sometimes
Mm,
that's when you get the insights,
right.
right? So if rather than grabbing the food when you're feeling um, anxious or stressed, you're like, you know what? I'm going to go take a walk, or I'm going to call a friend who's encouraging. I'm not going to go to the refrigerator. You might notice a shift and you'll learn something about yourself. This is where journaling can come in
Mm,
as well. Like in the heat of the moment, when I'm feeling like I'm going to the refrigerator, even though I'm not hungry, what's really happening? So
right.
the journaling can be a big piece of that healing too.
Someone just wrote light bulb moment right there, Valerie, and I completely agree. That was really great. And sort of to close it out, I wonder, mentally, is it better to kickstart your healthier lifestyle doing smaller things here and there, or just going all out, saying, you know what, I binged pizza and Netflix yesterday, and today I'm gonna start anew.
So here's the thing. Whatever you do, have a plan and understand that the bigger the goal, the bigger the commitment, the more resources you're going to need to carry it out. So when we set a big goal, we have to realize, okay, for example, I'm changing everything in my eating. How am I supporting that? What time will I need in order to buy the groceries, to
Mm,
cook the food? What am I going to change that supports this? Whereas when we make smaller shifts and changes, oftentimes we can do that without so many additional resources. So just evaluate what you really can do, like be realistic
mm,
about it. It would be better for you to make small changes and those changes stick than to declare really big changes that you can't sustain. So I'm not saying don't make the big changes, but if you make them, understand it's going to take more to actually carry those out. So
mm,
if you're not exercising at all and you're like, I'm going to work out 6 days a week for an hour, how are you going to do that? Where's the time coming from? Where's the
right.
discipline? If you started out and said, I'm going to get 20 minutes of cardio for 5 days this week. Maybe that's not the ultimate goal, but boy, wouldn't you feel good to do that compared to nothing? So we can build up and it builds our confidence. Small goals really do build up our confidence for bigger goals. So oftentimes starting small can be really, really effective.
Mm. That's so well said. And it is really true. You have to know yourself and be honest with yourself in order to move forward with your goals. And that's okay if you are not someone who works out all the time. It's okay to start small, and that's actually what you're saying you should be doing. So Thank you so much for those wise words, as you always have. Please check out more of Valerie Burton on her Instagram, on Rutbusters. She'll be continuing with our ladies. It's been an awesome series on Hoda and Jenna, so we really love it. And thank you, Valerie, for being such an inspiration. And thank you to everyone for submitting your questions. We will post this on IGTV.
Thanks, Donna. This was great.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.